Hello and welcome to Mrunal's math tutorials. Today we'll be looking at sketching cubic functions, and let us begin with the first question: y equal to x cube. Now, depending upon what is the coefficient of x cube, the meaning of coefficient of x cube is what is the number in front of x cube. In this case, the coefficient of x cube is 1. So if a is positive, you're going to have something that looks like this. I call it as uphill, a graph that is uphill. So now y is equal to x cube. Yeah, we know that the root or the x-intercept is going to be 0, because if you put y equal to 0, then x cube is also going to be equal to 0, or we could say that x is equal to 0. And since there is no number added next to the x cube, the y-intercept is also 0. In this case, the graph would look something like this, just going uphill. Now let us look at a question where the coefficient of x cube is negative. So that means we are having y equal to negative x cube. Here, as we can see that the coefficient of x cube is negative, that means the value of a is -1. The graph is going to look somewhat like this. It's going down the hill. Let's call it as downhill. So your graph would look something like this. Again, in this case, the x-intercept is 0. And the y-intercept is also 0. And it is going downhill. Not necessary to draw the arrows at the graph, but this is how it looks like. Now, what happens if you had some more terms, okay? At the IGCSE level, GCSE level, you're going to get questions like where the standard form is already factorized for you. You are not expected to factorize it. Now, let's identify what are the roots. The roots or the x-intercept. To find the roots or the x-intercept, you will substitute y equal to 0. That means x plus 1, 3 minus x, 3 plus x, all that is equal to 0. Now, each bracket is equal to 0. That gives me x is -1, x is 3, or x is -3. An easy trick to avoid all these steps would be the root is always opposite to this. So if you're having +1, the root would be -1. If you're having +3, the root would be -3, and if you're having x plus 3, then the root would be -3. So it's opposite to what you have over here, right? So you may skip all these steps and rewrite just the roots, right? Just be careful when it is 3 minus x, The root is going to be positive 3. The meaning of the root is what makes this bracket 0. What value of x makes this bracket 0. So somebody could just look at the bracket and think, okay, what value of x is going to make this 0? It's going to be -1, right? All right. Now to find the y-intercept, what I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute x equal to 0. So you're going to get y equal to 0 plus 1, 3 minus 0, and 3 plus 0. Again, remember, there's no need to do all these steps. You're not expected to write all this when it is just a graphing question. You can do it mentally, or you may write down the steps if you like. Now that I have the x-intercept and the y-intercept, I'm just going to quickly look at whether this graph is going to be uphill or downhill by multiplying the x values. So x times minus x is minus x squared, and that multiplied by x again is going to give me minus x cube. So minus x cube means the graph is going to be downhill. My shape of the graph would be downhill. So I already know the shape of the graph. Let's draw it a little bit better. It's going to be downhill, right? So let's draw the graph now. So we are having -1, -3, and +3 as the roots. Label the axes y and x. We are having -3, -1, and +3. Remember, it is just a sketch, so you don't have to be very accurate with the drawing. And let's say +9 is over here. And we know that the graph is a downhill. So go ahead and pass the graph through all the points that you have identified. Some of my students always ask me, how deep should we draw this? Remember, you're not expected to identify the coordinates of minimum or the maximum in this case, because it will be a totally different question followed by derivatives. Calculate the coordinates of turning points. Over here, what you need to indicate is just the x and the y coordinates. So when it comes to coordinates, you may indicate the x and y. So I would rewrite this as, the coordinate over here would be -3, 0, -1, 0, 3, 0, and that would be the y-intercept. Let's rewrite it as 0, 9, right? Let's look at another similar example, question number 4. Sketch the graph of y equal to x plus 2, x minus 3, and x plus 1. So again, this time, take a minute, pause the video, and identify what are the roots. Remember, the roots are opposite to the factors. So if the factor is +2, the root is going to be -2. I hope that you had a go at it by pausing the video. So what are the roots? X equal to -2, x equal to 3, and x equal to -1. And the y-intercept would be, substitute x equal to 0 in the equation, you're going to get y equal to 0 plus 2, 0 minus 3, and 0 plus 1. That gives me 2 times minus 3 times 1, which is going to be negative 6, right? Identify the shape of the graph. So multiply the x's. So x times x is x squared, multiplied by x again, it's x cubed, and we know that if it is x cubed, it's going to be a uphill. Let's draw that. I'm going to draw it here. Let's move it a little bit up. All right. So we are having the x-intercepts or the roots as minus 1, minus 2, and we have the y-intercept as minus 6. Let us leave it here. So 0 comma minus 6, we may write it as minus 2 comma 0, minus 1 comma 0 here, and the last one being 3 comma 0, and we know that it is going to be uphill. So go up the hill, climb up the hill, come down, pass it through the y-intercept, and then go up. That would give you full marks. Alright, so I have covered the basic sketching of cubic functions. If you like the video, like, share, and subscribe Mrinal's Math Tutorials. Thank you for watching. Remember to watch the part 2 for sketching of cubic functions. I'm going to look at some difficult questions in that tutorial. Thank you.